Day 44. I'm reading Reader Come Home by Marianne Wolf. This is page 163. Stories are one of humanity's most powerful vehicles for making lasting connections to people we will never meet. To feel like Charlotte about Wilbur's plight in Charlotte's web, to identify with Martin Luther King Jr. in Martin's Big Words, The Life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., or with Ruby Bridges in Through My Eyes, prepares children to empathize both with their neighbors and with people whose lives take place around the world or across the proverbial railroad tracks. Recall James Carroll's transformation after he read Anne Frank's diary. Think about the ways you have been changed by fictional characters such as Chile in The Color Purple, and Hamlet in the real lives of people such as Eleanor Roosevelt in her autobiography, and James Baldwin in I Am Not Your Negro. Whatever our age, we can be changed by the lives of others if we learn to connect the whole of the reading circuit with our moral imagination. Investment in the teaching of reading across the school years. None of these ends in the primary grades. If we are to change the desultory results of the NAEAP's reports cards for our nation, and more important, change the lives of the droves of children lost from 4th grade on, teachers in higher grades need to receive training in teaching children who do not read at grade level. I referred earlier to the double-edged Magnot line in 4th grade. It is the moment when when reading changes and when the content of what is to be read becomes ever more demanding in complexity. It is also the moment when higher grade teachers assume that children have already been taught to read and should no longer need assistance. It is a false, destructive assumption that must be changed, beginning with reconceptualizing teaching certification programs. The education of my son Ben illustrates this point all too poignantly. Ben was and is dyslexic in the most prototypical ways, creative, wonderfully intelligent, and sensitive to the daily insults one must deflect when one is unable to do what every other kid can, read. The 4th grade was his worst of time, despite the fact that he and his brother, David, attended a very nurturing Friends school, which laid a foundation for equality and fairness like few schools I have ever seen. Ben was one of 5 boys who were not reading at the same level as the rest of the class. They were a pack of trouble, or so thought their very well-meaning, ardently feminist teacher, whose enthusiasm for girls' education and disapproval of boys' shenanigans went too far, or so thought my son and his friends. With all the sense of rightness for just cause that the school emboldened, Ben and his buddies organized a petition against the sexist unfairness of the 4th grade teacher towards boys and the unjust treatment they received over their homework. After they delivered their petition to the school principal, which quite a few signatures, it should be noted, they returned to their classroom with that momentary sense of vindication that the righteous surely deserve, until it is replaced by the reality of an irate fourth grade teacher. She felt blindsided. What she was blind to was the fact that each of the boys was acting out because he was unable to meet her expectations, worthy thought they were, of the fluent reading comprehension that fourth graders were supposed to have attained. She never felt that there was a need to teach them more reading skills, for that was jurisdiction of the primary grades. She had little patience for things outside what she had been taught. I wish I could say there was a happy ending. There was only a decision by the parents of 4 out of the 5 boys, including Ben, that the children would need school better equipped to deal with the variety of their diverse learning challenges. What that fourth grade teacher lacked was not compassion. What was lacking was the kind of knowledge that would have given her the basis of understanding that all kids come to or leave grade 4 able to read fluently. The kind of training that would have enabled her to teach older children to just that, the motivation to work until no child in her classroom failed. The teaching of reading is hard, full of pitfalls, with obstacles all along the way until children reach the level of proficiency that allows them, whatever their language trajectory, to pass over form the text to their own thoughts and return enriched. In my ideal reading world, it happened by 3rd or 4th grade. In the real reading world of school in the United States, it does not. But it can. There are no simple solutions, particularly given the increasingly complicated needs in today's classrooms. Along with greater knowledge, better training, and full buy-in by our primary and elementary school teachers and administrators, we can come closer to an ideal reading life for many more non-proficient children. But we have to think outside the box. A large ongoing initiative by the Strategic Education Research Partnership, SERP, is a case in point, led by former editor of Science, Bruce Alberts, philanthropists such as Cynthia Coletti, and scholars such as Catherine Snow. This multidisciplinary initiative helps teachers from different areas across the middle grades around the country. One prominent aspect of their work helps school prepares their student with a shared corpus of words and concepts that will advance literacy and critical thinking across disciplines. These words are reinforced and elaborated by every teacher in every grade. For example, through stories in language arts classes, through historical facts in social studies classes, with new meanings in math or science classes. By the time they graduate, students will have acquired a repertoire of core concepts and words that will serve as a foundation for the rest of their learning. We need to invest in providing teachers across the entire elementary school grades with new knowledge. From research on the reading brain's implications for early assessment, prediction, and more individualized multidimensional method of teaching reading, to school-wide initiatives on reading and initiatives on reading and language, to digital-based learning tools. Our 21st century children must develop habits of mind that can be used across various mediums and media. Thus, our teachers also need far more knowledge than most now possess about the ways in which digital learning can contribute to solving the present crisis of our students, without exacerbating the increasing problems of attention, background knowledge, and memory. That requires its own letter, and it may well surprise those of you who by now privately regarded me as a closet Luddite. But buckle up, we're all in for a wild ride. Sincerely yours, your author. Okay, that was too long, but anyway, I should have finished the whole letters So this was Minky. Please correct me if you can. Thank you.